Gotta watch out for it. We gotta be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the flooding.
Yeah.
It all rolls downhill.
Yep.
And close. Okay. We're recording, we're live streaming, we're ready to go.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. My name is Colin Topper. I'm the chair. I'm going to call this meeting to order for the Solid Waste Special Service District. Today is Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. You could just go around and introduce yourselves. LJ, can you start us out?
I'm LJ Blackburn. I am vice chair. Ashley Wareham, treasurer.
Chris Scoville, district manager.
Diane Ackerman, Castle Valley representative.
Lily Houghton, administrative coordinator.
Jessica Thacker, district manager.
Nice. Now we find out.
District clerk.
Mike Dunaway, board member.
AJ Throgmorton, board member. Is my audio all right? Can you guys hear me?
What's your computer?
No, my computer's.
It was at 92. I think.
Testing, check.
It was
That's
me. It was
better.
me.
Okay.
I muted my computer.
Nick?
I don't know if we have Nick.
We can't hear him. Oh, shoot. He's muted also.
You're muted, Nick.
Oh, okay, I was like, no, it's not me.
Sorry about that. Nick Lundberg, accounting support.
You have to unmute that.
I heard you, Nick.
Okay. Great.
Where's my computer? I'll mute it.
I tried. Nick?
Yeah.
Can you read?
Okay, it is me. Okay.
Okay, anybody else? Nope. Okay, do we have any citizens to be heard? Anything else, Jessica?
I didn't see any.
Okay, then we'll move on to approval of the meeting minutes from July 16th, 2025.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for July 16th, 2025.
Okay, thanks, Diane.
I second.
Mike, thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Any opposed? Let me know when you're good, Jessica.
Yep, I'm good.
Okay, treasurer financial.
Hey, so overall, June and July were very close. June expenses were slightly higher, about $14,000 higher. Payroll expenses in June. Oh gosh, that should have been July. I apologize. Each month it is a adjustment of last month, but they were $232,501.61. Currently, there are 31 employees at the district, and we still have 9 temps through Elwood. Some of those temps have transitioned on as W-2 staff, but that relationship has still been really valuable for the district. Operation account expenses paid in July were $375,815.07. $139,000 was paid in cash for the water truck. I know Chris came to the board, but no PKF funds were used on that purchase. We paid a deposit of just under $8,000 for 2 new transfer trailers. There was a fire. Was it in June? I forget. I think it was June. One of the transfer trailers was lost due to a fire in it, and that really brought up the need for additional capacity with the trailers. Also part of that, $375,000 were the audit expenses, which were just under $17,000. And then the annual insurance billing also came in that month. So that's the auto, the property liability, big ticket one, but it's just over $51,000. Every month I've been able to send about $150,000 to the PTIF fund. So year to date, including the August contribution that isn't on this report, we're just over 1 million. We're 1,145,000 has been put away, which is, I feel like the district was kind of living paycheck to paycheck, and now we have some reserves, which is so important for the longevity of this organization.
And that's the amount that we pay the bond to, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Twice a year.
yeah.
So we're looking good.
Yes, absolutely. So the total amount between operations and payroll and the PTIF was $758,316.68. I also included the profit and loss. PLF income was down a little bit. We had lower revenue from petroleum contaminated soils. And just kind of more detail on that. Are there any questions?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the expenditures for the month of July 2025 in the amount of $758,316.68.
I second it.
Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, Diane. Okay. All in favor? Are there any opposed? No. Okay. Thank you, Lily. So moving on to the reports from board and staff. Chris.
Okay. So, coming up, according with our interlocal agreement with the city, rate increase that we, it's planned to go in effect for September and it'll be billed out October. Also kind of on top of that, and with our kind of decreasing numbers with single stream recycling, I was going to lower the price of recycling to kind of offset that for city customers that have both recycling and MSW collections. So for them, the price would stay the same for all the other customers. And this is something that Savannah brought up. It'll be all 96 gallon and 65 gallon containers will go up $2 regardless of commercial or residential. So, and we've also been trying to implement some new non-pay procedures. We had some hiccups, unfortunately, with the city. They ended up being on an exclusion list and we did not pick them up, which caused a little bit of contention between the district and the city. I think that's been resolved. And as a result, we've taken all government agencies off any kind of exclusion list or for non-payment. I mean, they're all going to pay eventually. And even as we kind of looked into it, it was an accounting error on our part. So just to kind of protect the relationship with other government entities, we're going to remove them from the exclusion list.
And whatever you did, Chris, going and being face to face with all those people involved in the city must have been really effective and appreciated, because I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, well,
and I heard it from you.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, we definitely were proactive. And the other thing, as a result, I've assigned Lily to kind of be the point person between the city and the county. I know that their bills are a little bit more complicated than everyone else. So just so that we have somebody that's kind of paying attention and making sure that all of our multiple accounts, and that's the issue is they pay to make sure the right accounts get allocated the funds so that it doesn't just auto generate is what happened in our software.
And then another quick question, Chris. So trash is going up $2 for the 2 bin sizes. What is recycling being reduced?
It'll be reduced $2. This is Lily came up with this.
With much input from some
Yeah.
of us and AI.
Where you throw the city council on. No, totally, you should, yes.
There's an incentive to buy if you don't buy into single stream or
Yeah, it's kind of multifaceted. I mean, one was to kind of just be aware of the fact that, you know, everything is kind of going up, and for those that, you know, purchase full services from us, it will kind of offset that. Ever since we removed glass from recycling, from the single stream recycling, our numbers have been going down. Some of it, just to be fully transparent, has to do with our services. We have not been the best in collecting our recycling. So as we kind of try to get that right, I mean, that's one of the things that we're really trying to pay attention to, and we're doing audits on all of our routes is to make sure that, you know, especially if we're gonna start pushing this non-pay, that we have our own house in order and we're providing the best services. So in a sense, yes, I mean, that's the other thing, especially out in the county, is to try to incentivize perhaps more people. We're gonna be here in the near future, really pushing recycling and all the different recycling programs we've been working on over the last few months, just to try to get the community more involved and excited about recycling, whatever way that they would like to participate. I mean, single stream being the easiest the way to participate in it, but we will be rolling out some other programs for those people that, you know, want to be kind of more involved and have a little bit more control over how they're recycling.
So it's understood that single stream would go down. See, I guess when you say you saw a decrease in single stream, it's not because of the amount of single stream, simply because the glass was taken out of it. So of course, the amounts.
No, the customers went down because, I mean, they're paying for the service to be able to have the single stream, and the convenience of single stream, regardless of however you think about it, is that you can place all your recycling. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have, you know, the recycling, but then now I still have to take my glass somewhere.
So did it go down? Did you notice it when our rates went up? Is that what we're assuming, or no?
I think that the removal of glass is
Yeah.
the biggest driver in this.
Oh, the
We have
glass.
removed some things about that. So we were reducing service.
Okay, so you were assuming that maybe you're bringing everything up there, or just the glass, or nothing up there?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, we're looking at different programs or different systems to be able to try to track. We've got some traffic counters. We've ran into some hiccups there to just try to be able to gauge the amount of traffic and the, you know, as it varies throughout the season. And I mean, that would have been nice to have in place. Unfortunately, we didn't. Hopefully at some point the data will be available in the software that we have. I mean, that was the intent, and trying to move towards, you know, more advanced systems, is be able to have those data points so we can use it, so we can have data-driven decisions or information to make decisions.
Well, I was up there today, and that new big sign on the glass is wonderful. And somebody backed up there with a giant, in a pickup truck with a giant blue barrel on the back, and I wondered what they were doing, because they waited till I was out of the way, and then they backed their truck up to the glass, and it was a young woman, and she just poured all the glass. It was full of glass.
Yeah, and that new banner was Kim's idea, and I think it was a good addition. I mean,
What does it say?
it just says recycle glass here.
People didn't think you could recycle glass at the recycle center after they couldn't put it in their single stream.
Yeah.
And it is, as soon as you drive in, I mean, it's
big.
you're pulling right there. So yeah, it was definitely a good addition. And we got new signage coming up there that once we get it, we'll get some good to present to the board.
So this is city residents only to our city contractors, everybody's rates going
Just city through the contract.
through the contract.
Through the contract, it's in the ILA, it was every year, it goes up $2.
And where's this gonna be posted on the website, I guess?
We're gonna mail that out. We can mail it to
The
everyone.
whole postcard, so you should probably get one.
Oh, okay.
And we'll probably on the back have like our hours and schedule.
And what is the county pay? I'm just trying to think what questions I'm gonna get asked.
32.
County pays 32, and the additional $2 will bring the city up to 28. Okay,
For a 96 gallon part, every week service.
Okay.
It goes down from there, depending on every other week or the small container.
okay, thank you.
Colin, do you want this?
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, and please stop me if you guys have questions. I'm just gonna try to go through this real quick. So our new railroad truck should be here tomorrow. This is the curb tender. And so this will be the first time we've utilized this Packer system, so hopefully it works out. The dealer so far, I mean, we're a little bit behind schedule, but that always happens. He was been very good on informing us where things were at. And even though he was behind schedule, he took the truck and he ran it through, all of his mechanics already went through it there. They ran it through the Freightliner dealership. So then he's gonna actually bring a mechanic here as we run it for our first day. So far, you know, because the goal here was not necessarily to shop brands anymore. And I brought this up in the past, is to kind of shop dealerships and try to get our service. Especially because we're so isolated down here, it's huge for us. It doesn't matter how good the piece of equipment is, if it's down and we can't get somebody here to help us get it up and going, you know,
So will we be cautious and wait a little while before we send any or and the rentals?
Yeah, one of the rentals. I don't have a set time. It was kind of a wait and see. I mean, if this comes here and we can get all the bugs worked out and we can go on route, I get, you know, a week or two to get some feedback from the drivers on how they, you know, obviously they're the ones going to be utilizing it. And then, we'll send one of those rentals away as soon as possible.
Great.
Is the plan. And then if this works out and this kind of is a little bit down, so I won't go into a whole lot, but I mean, if this works out, the intent would be to try to get scheduled for another rear load so that we can replace our other. We out of the league had mentioned that we purchased 2 transfer trailers. We have 1 trailer on site. We used it today for the first time. And our other one should be here either tomorrow or the next day as well. So we'll go from 2 trailers to 4 trailers, which is going to be a massive change. And I know, Ashley, you kind of mentioned last thing about perhaps another tractor. And once again, that's kind of something I'll discuss later, but I think that's definitely something that we're going to need to look into, is really the whole end goal of having the 4 trailers rather than just replacing to 3. It just buys us more time with our transfer station because we can still adhere to our operations plan. We can clear the floor and it gives us more options as far as hauling the trash out to Klondike. Last week we had a trailer, one of the, I believe it was the tarp went down on it. And so we were running 1 trailer for a little while. I don't even think it was a full 24 hours and wow, the whole transfer station was full. It was
Just part, huh?
yeah. And kind of bringing up that, we also, just because we have to talk about the roll-off trucks, we had an incident where we had a couple of our roll-off trucks go down. The positive take out of this is because everything else is kind of in order. We had one of our transmissions blow in one of the roll-off trucks that we had, we weren't so overwhelmed that the mechanics were able to jump on it, get the transmission replaced, and it was back in within about a week, which is before we were down months. I mean, and I'm not exaggerating. So, I mean, it's just, even though we're still kind of struggling with this roll-off things, the fact that we've lessened the burden on the mechanics enough that we can kind of deal with the other crises and more time than that, which is, that was, yeah.
And is Kurt still actively modifying?
Less and less.
Okay.
Because we brought an in-house welder, and that up until this last week, and I won't get into it because I'm not sure how it's going to work out for them, but we've been pushing out our own with our in-house welder quite a bit, and it's been working out really well.
Just we're modifying.
The modified. Oh, here's the roll-offs.
Yeah.
Roll-offs. No, we haven't made any moves there. We're getting pricing. The plan there is to purchase some already modified ones before we start messing around too much with anything.
Got it.
So if we purchase some already modified ones, they can already run on our bigger trucks. So we would have access to be able to run small and little trucks, and then kind of along those same lines, we do want to get a smaller truck with the standardized, and that's once again kind of down into these capital purchases and looking at, you know, what's priority, what can we purchase this year and without going into an amended budget, because I would rather avoid an amended budget process. Because I am gonna try to do a pretty big overhaul for next year's budget, so I'd like kind of the focus to be on that rather than trying to coincide that with an amended budget.
Okay.
But I've been kind of going back and forth with Nick, and just to make sure that, you know, between Nick and with Lily, trying to make sure that our cash flows so that we can still meet our bond payments is kind of the key to, you know, look at our purchases for this year and into next year. Sorry, with the confusion with the roll.
Okay, yeah.
I confuse myself sometimes with dumpsters and rolls. Let's see, let's see, just kind of some of the things, I met with the county, it was really close to last board meeting right after we went over the rag bag. Things we will be supported from the county for our WAG bags this year. We went over the brownfield remediation, which is the old shooting range next to the Moab landfill. And so, and actually now that I bring that up, so another thing that I had a meeting with our engineer HDR. And in my meeting about the brownfield and through some correspondence, I've got all the data. So they did what they call a phase 2 site assessment up there, and I was able to get all that data and feed that data to our engineer. And it came back that it is a possibility for us to take that up at the Moab landfill. In the back and forth with the county, I'm kind of leaving it in. I'm basically gonna wait until I get permission from them before I take any further steps there. And the other thing I talked with the county about is just the expansion here and as it relates to our zoning issues. And I'm not sure, I think we made some progress, but watching some of the county council meeting last night, I'm not sure where that's gonna go. I also attended the steering committee for the first time. That had a lot of interesting information. And working with the health department, Orion's got me on DRT meetings, which is the development review team. So basically it gets insight into the developments that are coming up, and it gives us a little bit of say. Like I know we have an issue down here with one of these new apartment buildings where the plans that they sent us weren't necessarily the way they were laid out, and we have trouble getting to our containers. So kind of being part of these meetings, I'm in the county now. I'm going to try to get on the city as well, that we can kind of just give our 2 cents. Obviously, we're not priority to everyone that's there. This is a huge group of people, but it kind of gives us some insight into what's coming up, and if there's some concerns. I mean, it's definitely a place to be able to address it, because things haven't been built yet.
And is it a developer's responsibility to make sure that?
They're supposed to have these things signed off on.
Okay,
It doesn't, we get forgotten about a lot when it comes to things like this, and it's just after the fact. And you know, especially when like hotels, big chain hotels, they already have their own, from their recipe to their asphalt to the sides of their corrals, like everything's just kind of you know, cut and paste kind of things. But a majority of the country uses front loads, and they don't fit our containers.
got it.
So
Okay.
basically they build these corrals that are too small to fit our containers in there, and then, you know, it's a struggle from then on.
And do we have a means to have them retroactively?
Not so much. I know
To ask them to rebuild their.
yeah, and I know that this Maverick, South Maverick has been a huge problem. I've
Seen the
tried to work
doors on
with,
that.
yeah, and I've tried to work with their corporate, and we've gone back and forth for over a year now. The last email I got from them, I didn't respond to, because they basically said, yeah, we'll consider you contributing to paying for the corrals or something like that. And that's not the conversations that we had. So I don't know what they're even talking about. But yeah, I mean, that's a good example where they, you know,
Yeah.
spent money obviously, but we weren't in the loop and it just doesn't work.
And the problem, in my opinion, has always been, as much as solid waste has tried to push the fact that they need to get that signed off by us to agree to the size of the containers, the city has not ever really supported that.
Interesting, okay.
And that's kind of being on part of these DRT committees, I can kind of get ahead and at least I can. I mean, if nothing else, I can be like, I told you so, before you even built it. I don't know how much that gives us, but I mean, it gets us in the process and
Open the door.
Yeah. Our compost pad, we've got the pad built ready for concrete to be poured on it. We've got the electrical ran under the road and ready to be stubbed in. So that's moving along. I think by next board meeting, we'll be able to put together some of the costs and where we're at as far as the costs and everything. As Jerry talked about HDR. The only other thing with HDR is we do have cell 5 ready to submit. And this kind of ties into this purchase of this positive cell that I'll talk in later. Part of the issue that's going to stop us from being able to open cell 5 sooner is that we've done a new financial assurance construction costs for closure post-closure, and they are way above our restricted PTIF funds that we have set aside. So if we open that up, that means that we have to cover the cost for cell 1, 2, 3, and 5, which there's no way we're going to be able to do. We jumped from hundreds of thousands of dollars to in the millions for closure post-closure. Something that I need to do as far as kind of doing a due diligence on the district's part is I need to get some local construction costs estimates to kind of verify the engineers, because the engineers sometimes don't exist in reality. I mean, they're smart and they're good at their job, but sometimes there's just a cheaper way to do things. And one of the things that I was going to do is probably pay for these estimates, because it's something that they're not going to be able to. I know a lot of construction companies give free estimates, but it's hard to, hey, come work for free. Yeah, and you're not going to get any work from it. So, so I just went down. Was with Kim from our MOU with Moab Solutions. We went down with San Juan County. San Juan County seems to be on board with this big new recycling kind of projects that we've been working on. And the reason why there's a big push right now is the state of Utah is having a big recycling push. They got last year, the EQ got a Swiffer grant. They finished up all the waste characterizations of, I believe it was 58 MSW sites throughout the state. Right now they're sending, they should be in the mail, we should get them in the next day. They want us to survey all of our community members on their feeling about recycling. Most of the country has some type of recycling mandates in place, diversion rate mandates. I know the state of Utah itself has diversion goals from the landfill. So this is all to collect data, because there is going to be a push for some type of recycling program on a state level. So it's kind of twofold. Sure, there's the environmental component of recycling is good and all that stuff, but I think that kind of getting ahead of things because it's going to be coming from the state anyways. So it would be nice to already have our own systems in place that work for us, because every community's a little bit different. And Moab being isolated, but we have the tourists to deal with, and I mean, there's tons of recycling that doesn't get captured from the tourists. So,
Chris, what would that look like from the state? Like, what would a state, mandate or something with regarding recycling? What form might that take?
So I think initially, so they already have, and I don't know if you have any numbers, but I know that I can't remember if it was a 30 or 40% diversion rate is
Yeah.
what they're going for, so I think that's the approach they're gonna take. I think there will probably be some monetary incentives for recycling programs. I think it's gonna be a while before Utah actually, because we're behind on a lot of different things. Like we're one of the only states that take electronics at landfills. So, I mean, I think it's gonna be a while before the state comes down and tries to mandate recycling. I think they're trying to take a softer approach and trying to encourage to the state to reach these diversion goals.
So big percentages.
Yeah, and what's our current diversion rate, you guys know?
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Oh, I know, unfortunately, we haven't done one for a while. I think it was at 11 the last time we calculated,
Yeah.
but it wasn't based on, they were kind of arbitrary numbers.
Yeah, because you couldn't really factor in the diversion rates from MLF. I think that was our big thing.
Well, and it's so hard because there's so much waste volumes that come in through the tourists that don't necessarily get captured by Moab, even though they're getting generated here. They go out to the arches and it gets thrown, and we haven't done our own kind of waste characterizations out there, you know, like and I know this is something that Kim wants to do, is take some of the trash from the arches and go out there and do a characterization of it and be able to show how much is recycling.
Oh, or like take the garbage and go through.
Yeah, and go through. Yeah, and
cool.
see how much, so and I mean, the other thing that will help is, once again, this kind of software, it'll be easier to be able to gather all the data and be able to filter it through to be able to figure out how much volumes. The other bad thing with us is we had our scale go down at the CRC for so long. And we weren't getting where we were sending our recycling, also didn't send us any information, so we just have a blackout for about a year and a half. But I think that 11 to 15% is probably a pretty good number. Unfortunately, it could even be lower if you look at like the volumes that we're not counting. I know there's lots of hotels in there that if you go in there, they have trash cans that are split trash cans. They say recycling and trash. 100% all that stuff goes into the trash can. I mean, that's just, I'm not sure why they would do things like that. I know that there's a lot of businesses that we could capture more cardboard from, because I see the cardboard going out into the landfill. So yeah, there's lots of things that we can do to increase that diversion rate from our landfill. Also, that being said, you know, food compost is up to 30% of the waste stream that goes out to the landfill, so that can be thrown into our diversion rate. So
Yeah.
you know, I think we're on track over the next year or two here to be at match or exceed whatever the state's putting out as their kind of goal for the diversion rates.
Right now, they're at 5%, one of the lowest in the country.
Oh, that's right. That was their last thing.
The last goal was 5%.
No,
No.
that's where they're at.
In 2023, only 5% of waste produced in Utah was diverted,
For the state.
according to Utah.gov.
So we're doing good at 11.
Yeah, significantly lower than the national average.
Yeah.
Room for improvement.
Yeah, the national average is 32%.
There's lots of states that are pushing 50%. Wow, you know, and so. Let's see, yeah, San Juan County, so that was good. We're gonna do kind of a pilot. Where we're really close to one of his transfer stations up in LaSalle. We've already identified a volunteer to come in and kind of keep the stream clean, and then we can just kind of gauge the participation. And he's also gonna put a kind of a pilot drop off at the San Juan landfill. So that's kind of where we're gonna start. So it was pretty exciting. We talked about sharing containers to be able to transport. So we already actually take a lot of recycling from Bluff, but they started their recycling program on a grant, and that grant's run out. So the incentive to drive from Bluff all the way up to the recycling center is we're getting less and less, because of the transportation costs to get all the way up here. While Bluff is right next to the San Juan landfill. So in part of those discussions, he can drop it off, and then as they bring, their dumpsters out here to LaSalle, we can go to LaSalle, so we can kind of, help get their recyclable commodities here and try to keep operational investments at a minimum is the goal too.
So is the same street that you're talking?
No, this is source separated. Yeah, in Bluff, they do the source separated. And the pilot drop off things will also be source separated at these little transfer stations or convenient centers, whatever you want to call it.
And that skews the numbers a little bit, right? If other communities, surrounding communities will just bring the recycling, but not their trash here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's definitely something.
Yeah. But I mean, that being said, though, I mean, we can also partner with them down there
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
get it. So if they're on board,
Big
and they have
concept.
zero recycling down there other than these little teeny
Huh.
pockets.
Okay.
And I mean, between Grand County and San Juan County, that's a lot of square mileage. You know, or a big, huge area
Huge.
with a lot of recreation and tourism that goes on. So I mean, I think it'll be a huge potential.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's great. I did have an interview with Moab Times Independent. That was just glorious. My favorite thing besides board meetings and planning meetings. Yeah. Definitely why I signed up for this stuff.
That's wonderful.
I thought it was great.
I thought it was really great. You need to be there in the.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
It was you, it was just the top, so
That's even better.
I think it was worth your time.
Yeah, well, and it is, and I know that's part of the gig, so I won't hide from it, but it's definitely not,
It's not your favorite.
no, my favorite thing. We had our customer drop off wall collapse, and we've got it, almost, it should be complete backup, ready to go, stronger than ever. Hit the statewide, survey that'll be coming.
Chris,
And
Last word in that sentence, you say it collapsed. What about the customer wall?
yeah, so we have a customer drop off, with a retaining wall. That we have a roll off that sits behind it. We've had issues where the rain gets behind it and undercuts and the retaining wall falls over, and it's actually the stacked concrete blocks.
Yeah.
And we've rebuilt it a couple times that I'm aware of. But this time we're gonna rebuild it, and all we're gonna do is from standing the blocks long ways, we're gonna turn them to the side so they won't tip over, and then we'll build up so that the rain can't undercut it. It'll wash around. I mean, it's a pretty easy fix, but it was kind of annoying. Just because now we have to engage even more of the customers with commercial. To that answer,
Not the wall inside the bay, though, not the one in our main building.
no, that one's still coming, so.
Yeah. Any day.
And we have, in fact, the concrete contractor that we're working with to pour the pad for the composter has given us a bid, I think. That just because, I mean, if it were up to me, I would have be way further than we are in this property, but I mean, obviously there's other partners in here and we have to kind of wait on them. Rather than just waiting for that wall to tip over, he's gonna give us a bid. We might just pour another wall in front of it. I mean, it's gonna be expensive, but I mean, the repercussions of that wall going down are, I mean, it pains me to invest in something that's probably gonna be tore down, but I think just because of safety and keeping the trash flowing is something that we're just gonna have to do. Another fun thing, so up at the Moab landfill, we're getting close to end of life. We have been struggling pretty much the whole time that I worked here with our dozer that's up there with overheating problems. This last year, I'm finally was kind of done with it, and it's like, look, you guys just need to get in here and figure out what's going on with this dozer. Well, and the result came back. There was some issues with it. But all of the issues are because we're not using the right tool for the right job. It doesn't have a waste package on it. And it continually, if we're gonna continue to use it, we're basically gonna have to call out Wheeler. They're gonna have to pull out all of our coolers and radiators probably at least once a quarter. And that's been the issue. So in considering that, and the problem is what's happened there is that during all that time that it's down, now we can manage for the most part volumes that come into Moab landfill. As far as the working phase, what we can't do is we can't get it compacted. So over the last, and I think it's been a real problem over the last 6 months, our compaction has been abysmal. And all that's doing is speeding up the closure of the landfill. Like, we need to be getting the best possible compaction, at least until we can figure out a definite path forward with, you know, the closure of Moab landfill. Because if it closes too soon and we're not ready down here, I'm not even sure what you know, what the outcome of that would be. So we're gonna have to look at some other way to manage the trash up at the Moab landfill.
Do you have some ideas?
Yeah, and I'll kind of go over there. I mean, I guess this, I was trying to make this meeting was gonna be short. It wasn't very much, so I was trying to go, it's a little list, I'm going through it, but so basically, kind of what I'm looking at is I got numbers for a new compactor. I know a few board meetings ago, we were looking at potential of perhaps getting a new compactor out at Klondike landfill because of the BOMAG. It's past its warranty. We extended the warranty. What I'm thinking is we might, if we can afford it, you know, obviously there's bigger discussions that have to happen with Nick and trying to get the finances dialed in on this, but perhaps is getting a compactor for Klondike, but having it come to Moab first. And just kind of, it sits here until the end of life, then we can pull our dozer out. We still have dirt work that needs to be done, especially as closure gets near. So we won't have to invest in a dozer. I know we looked at trying to get a new dozer, maybe with a trash package like we have out at Klondike. But then after Moab closes, then we have 2 dozers. And they're expensive machines to run, and we don't necessarily need 2 dozers. So this is, if we get the compactor here, that can go out to Klondike, and they have really good deals right now. 7-year bumper to bumper, all the bells and whistles, or sorry, 7-year warranties, bumper to bumper. They were able to get me out 10-year financing or a 10-year lease on it. Expensive, super expensive machines. I think it was 1.1 million. And so the payments would end up being about 144,000 a year for 10 years. So it's not cheap, but it's something that we're gonna have to do. And if Moab landfills closes, I mean, it's given the 7-year warranty. I mean, he could finish his life out of Klondike and replace Klondike anyways, sorry, but yeah. So yeah, it's a couple ideas, but there's big dollars attached to it. So as I brought up last, and asked for the board's permission to enter into negotiations with the Danish Flats Waste Solution. Those have progressed. I was able to get a draft put in writing. Where we're at right now is he's reviewing those. He's going to get back to me. We've gone through and we procured a lawyer that's going to represent the district as we finalize negotiation with the Danish Flats, as we deal with the county. Yeah, that's progressing. Just the last little thing I wanted to note, and this is, I know AJ tried to cancel his recycling, and we had to tell him no because of our, basically we're in an opt-out, and I know he had a question of why it is that way. And just real briefly, I mean, it's a purely operational and logistics. Initially, it was here because Dan and Monument Waste wouldn't sign on to doing recycling unless they were guaranteed X amount of money. You have to have X amount of money to invest in these trucks and try to do the routes. And for us, it has, I mean, and it's multifaceted inventory control. That way we make sure we have enough carts. It has to do with changing of routes. Right now, we're struggling with just trying to do with what we have. So if all of a sudden the more changes we have, the more that we struggle. And then there's a financial component that, you know, are we gonna run this this program? We need to collect X amount of money. So that was kind of an answer to your email, AJ. And that's all I got.
Makes sense.
That's
Thanks for the explanation.
It's supposed to be quick.
Okay, Lily, any questions for Chris first? Nope. Okay,
I've been doing a deep dive into the employee handbook. We sent it for legal review and I got that back. I'm now trying to they were just reviewing the current version of the handbook, so taking that with, Jill, our HR partner, has a handbook, and then Employers Council has a recommended handbook, so trying to mash these 3 documents together and not make it too like 100 pages. Nobody wants that. So it's been time consuming, but I think the end product will definitely be worth it. We are still meeting with AMCS, the Verifone testing. So the Verifone is still a credit card charger, like has not been working. That's what's holding us up from using it at the landfills. We did testing with them on the 12th, and that was promising. They said they would be in touch. It's now the 20th. Here we are, but that's, I mean, promising that we're making progress. Other than that, I attended a loss prevention webinar with the Utah Trust. And from that, I learned more about the Government Immunity Act in Utah and protections we have as a local government. So I updated our information in the Utah Department of Commerce's database. It was still listed as Evan Tyrrell and a PO box we no longer have. So that was very nice. And I also updated the notice of claim form for the district. So if someone perceives that we've damaged them, they have this specific form that they have to fill out. And then Chris touched on a lot of things. I don't know. These are long, things get done, but there's always more to do.
thank you. Any questions? It's quick, Lily.
That's all I got.
Jessica,
I typed them out, but I'm not gonna go through all of it. So all of y'all got the email that we successfully submitted to the Glass Recycling Foundation. I don't have a timeline on that. I went to their website to see if there was an update. They just said that they would email people when things changed. So no timeline on that. Let's see. The household hazardous waste shed was audited. I removed unnecessary items, reorganized a little bit, and Veolia will be on site this Friday to pick up all of that. Our shed is overflowing at this time. I attended the cybersecurity training provided by the Utah Cyber Center. Learned a lot of things. I actually still need to summarize those notes and send those out to y'all. They kind of touched on our transition to the .gov domain, kind of like the city and the county are doing, and kind of what comes along with that, along with just information that we should be aware of, systems and protocols that should be in place. Attended the monthly RCU board meeting. They're finalizing the information and speakers and content for the fall conference, which will be at the South Valley transfer station. And I believe that's the guy, Nick Patterson.
Yeah.
That's the one that he designed.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chris briefly touched on it, but the new signage for the CRC, finalized the design for all of those and placed the order today, or placed the proof to make sure everything looked good. So that should be moving along here this week. And yay, we ordered the composter. I worked with the design team for the compost, because they're going to be providing us compost buckets, or a couple of compost buckets and stickers on items that are allowed and not allowed. And briefly worked with Chris and Levi on the infrastructure for the construction and installation of the concrete pad and the electrical. Research and requested quotes for trommel screeners and smart cans for compost screening and satellite organics collections. Just a little to touch on the smart cans. They do have a price tag. They're roughly between 2,300 to 2,600 for a single can. But these cans have sensors in them that send out alerts when they're full. They have odor control. They're Bluetooth operated, and individuals can sign up to use it, and they'll be given a code. So they have to enter in that code into the machine. So we know that people that are utilizing these systems are well aware of what goes in it. So we're not getting like random bits of, we're not just getting trash, or these are people that actually are actively putting in acceptable materials. So that means we're getting like a cleaner feedstock when it would go into the composter. The reason I'm looking at these, Chris kind of sparked the idea when he said he had seen it at Swana or something like that. Because we went with the cheaper unit rather than the Green Mountain Technologies, which was 231,000 of the original 300,000 grant, we now have a huge chunk of money that we can use for other things like smart cans that we can custom design. And I think will be better in the long run, but that's just me.
How big are these cans?
They range from 35 to 96 gallon. I mean, I know that it's not much, but you also don't want these giant containers because they're going to be too heavy
Right.
and they will take longer to fill up. And yeah, you don't want that.
And I think that that's gonna be a really important component to the success of this pilot program, is making sure that the optics.
Yeah.
Are good, that we're not, yeah.
And I looked into other locations that actually utilize it. And Detroit City had actually just launched a pilot composting program utilizing those cans of satellite drop off, and they got like 50 of them. Obviously,
Wow.
Detroit City's a little bit bigger than us, but for Detroit.
Are you considering then like having satellite compost drop off for?
I had an idea that I thought it would be cool if we did get this, whether we got the glass grant or not, because we're gonna have to eventually set up satellite glass collections, glass satellite collection points. I thought it'd be very useful if we could create these little like recycling hubs where we would have glass, and then in tandem with the MOU with Moab Solutions, they'd have their container, and then right with it would be the organic. So you'd have like a little one-stop shop of different types of recycling.
Well.
So,
Yeah.
but I've been doing a lot of brainstorming now that I have all this additional like funding that that's been freed up. And then in tandem with that, I've begun generating a press and media kit, continue developing the operations plan, and begin developing an education and outreach timeline to ensure the community is informed of developments of the pilot and the pilot compost program's existence. So several different documents that are being generated to make sure that this moves forward and people actually know about it. Registered for the used oil training through the UDQ, began converting some district forms that are on our website to fillable PDFs. So, because the most notable thing being our Klondike franchise agreement, I had to pull teeth out of some of these people because they just weren't filling them out properly. So making rules that only people can sign in certain locations, required sections and that sort of thing. But Lily had suggested that maybe it would be helpful to have a agenda. You said it was in a
Required fields.
no, like if somebody wanted to submit an item for the agenda, kind of like what the county does.
Oh.
An agenda request form.
Yeah, it's something like that, or grammar request forms, fillable forms, kind of moving us into the,
I was still
I like
stuck on
it, yeah.
Klondike.
yeah, sorry. Just moving us into the future and special waste or requests for special waste. So people don't have to email me and be like, hey, give me the form. And then I have to be like, sorry, you filled it out wrong. Try it again.
Well, that would work even for the opting in and out then too, right? Having the form online to opt in and out.
We could.
That's super
I've been
good,
having
yeah.
issues with forms not Not the, like submitting forms, like forms that they can fill out and then email to me. Let's see, renewed our annual SAM registration. This is just a federal entity that allows us to submit for grants and to bid on federal jobs. If we didn't have a SAM code or a SAM's code, then we wouldn't be able to have any federal contracts or any federal grants. There's that. Signed us up to participate in the upcoming demonstrations events at, can't remember which school it is. It's either the elementary or the middle school. I can't remember. It's not the high school. Research, special service district required policies such as privacy policies, transparency policies, grow up policies. Almost all the special service districts have these on their websites if we don't. And that was one of the cybersecurity things. They're like, you need to have these items readily available and also accessibility. So looking into those, and then just other various administrative and programmatic tests. Sorry, that was a lot.
Any questions?
I do. I like the idea of the hub thing, but I'm struggling with how is the food waste gonna get moved around to the process where it's gonna go in and become
Just
compost?
be one route, we're gonna have a route.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, I want to be really careful at the beginning because. like
Well, that's
you
why I was-
mentioned, the success of this is going to be optics, and one optic we don't want to have is stinky piles of food. all
Yeah,
over.
absolutely. Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
that'll definitely take a win and turn it into a loss real quick. So, but it would just be a collection route.
Yeah, because I only wanted to start with maybe 2 to 3. And one, my main 2 were the one in the city, because I think it would be really good optically wise to have one in the city. And then one that's like at the CRC. That way we can monitor it. But like I said, there's smart cans. So they notify you when that can is full. And that way you're not having sticky piles just
Right.
piling up. So
New tech.
Yep.
Move
I
on
offered
up.
the backseat of your car, Diane.
What's that?
I offered for you to just go. and look
I put a lot of stuff in my car,
outside.
but I don't think I'm gonna do food waste.
No
anytime
comments.
soon.
Any questions for Jessica? Nick, what do you got for us?
Well, a couple of items. We're 7 months into the year. Well, 7 months of the year of actual data. We're still trending to be looking at the expense and capital budget. We're still trending to be about 500,000 under our capital budget, which goes back to what Chris had mentioned, that we're still looking like we will not need to do an amended budget, but we'll keep monitoring that through the end of the year. If I take the 7 months worth of actual data and project it out for the 12 months, we're still right in that about 500,000 under budget range. So I think it's a good cushion we may have, but again, depends on if there's some capital needs that come up in the next 4 or 5 months that we have to do that could impact that. But we'll continue to monitor where we are or where we're at monthly in terms of actuals to budget. And speaking of budget, going into our 2026 budget season, that for those of you on the board who are not aware of how the budget process works, generally get started on this in August, September timeframe, working up the labor and employee budgets, the capital budgets, and then the expense budgets. And kind of the timeline that happens is we generally like to have a preliminary look at it at the October board meeting, fine tuning at the November board meeting, and then presentation and public input at the December board meeting for the final approval. So I'll be working with management there at the district to work on the various components of the budget, the 2026 budget, and continue to look at that in comparison to our 2025 actuals, and so see where we're at and what we are wanting to do for next year in terms of expenses, with the new compost cost center, budgeting for that, and any capital items that we may want to Chris had mentioned that we probably have an expanded capital budget next year in terms of what we want to, at least our wish list, so we will definitely look at that. So yeah, those are the items I had, so if there's any questions.
Any questions for Nick? All right, thanks, Nick.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to board reports. LJ, do you have anything?
I just want to do a quick little update about the upcoming appreciation party next Sunday. I have been able to attain a couple of raffle items. Mary had said that she would help get a couple for me as well. So we're looking at a goal of about 10 to 15 raffle items. And other than that, we already know that it's going to be, you know, basically a pool party for the employees and their families. And then dinner afterwards is going to be catered. So that is pretty much all I have.
So it's outside, right? The whole thing is outside. I mean, the pool is an inside pool, but the other part's gonna be outside, the awards.
Chris is, yeah, I think you've already rented the pavilion, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
how many people do you anticipate?
92.
Wow.
Especially with the pluses, you know, there was no just plus one, it was plus family, so some people have like
Great,
Are any board members gonna be able to attend?
I'm coming.
I'm gonna plan on being there. Yeah.
Oh, yes, women.
Great.
Hopefully it's 104 degrees. Oh, gosh.
Oh, wait. What, should we ask Mike?
Nope. There's 94 degrees with hints of thunders.
Oh, wow.
But that could change several times between them.
It changes daily. I mean,
That's what I said.
sometimes in during
Hourly.
What time does it start?
3 to 5 is swimming, 4 to 6 is dinner. They're gonna start bringing the food at 4. So.
I think
And we'll do the
7.
raffle during dinner.
Yeah, they're gonna, they was in there, they got the.
Like
Whatever,
chafing dishes.
yeah, chafing dishes, these are disposable chafing dishes, but then there's a bigger thing that. They're gonna let us use that you move it into, so it'll be a kind of learning process. It was $50 for the delivery, and it just, because they just started to describe everything I needed to
Yeah.
do. And I was like,
Yeah.
how much is delivery? $50, so.
And I'll just plan on being there and helping with that.
Yeah, and we're gonna set up some tables. I know, there might be some seating concern. I know Danny suggested the same thing. About maybe just throwing it out there that people kind of bring their own chairs and
That's a
stuff.
great idea.
That pavilion there was only $35 to rent for, you know, for, I think it's up to half a day or anything below 4 hours. So that's super reasonable.
Okay,
If it does rain, we can get everything underneath.
that's great. Yeah.
We'll get that if it rains. 95 people are not gonna fit under any shelter that I know of down there.
It's actually a pretty good sized pavilion. They
I
have.
was gonna say, when Synergy did our volunteer event, putting together bikes for the schools, we had definitely had a lot of people under there, so.
I just remember, you know, how there was space along the parking lot there, but this might be.
No, it's the big one in the center.
Okay.
And I honestly, I didn't even know it existed, and I've been driving by it for
Okay,
like.
yeah. I'm
forever.
aware of the bigger
And
one.
it was like, I think there's something there, but I drove down there one day and it was like, oh yeah, there's that.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Okay. I'll find it.
LJ, thank you for, yeah, and I know, yeah, and Chris too.
Chris has been doing a ton, yeah.
Yes,
It's fine.
okay, anything else, LJ?
No, I'm good.
Ashley, got anything?
Yeah, I've had a couple people calling me throughout the community asking questions about pickup or like a dumpster, not dumpster. I'm still on construction mode today, sorry. Like their trash pickups and stuff like that. I think I'll send you an email. That way I can get some clarification on some questions and
Yeah,
express their concerns and stuff.
yeah, and I'm sure that, because we've had some responses too, so
Okay,
basically, there was a little bit of a disconnect between like administrative and how we were going to proceed with this, and then how it got translated into operations and stuff.
okay.
So there were a lot of people that were getting tagged and skipped when they shouldn't have missed. That was not the intent. That was just kind of
Okay.
the output.
Well, that was my house, but
Oh,
yeah, I've got, there's a couple other things. too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, then I'll send an email. That way I can have some clarification, because people do ask, and I really like that you're like, how much are the rates? Because people ask, at least me, and you must get asked sometimes too, what's going on? Why is there a new water truck? What, so.
And so
it's
Ashley,
important to be involved.
I was gonna add, if you email, please don't just email, include us also, then we can
Okay.
all learn from whatever Chris's responses are.
Perfect.
And this is great too. I mean, this is the whole intent for, at least for me, to try to expand the board, because then people know that you're on the board and we
Yep.
can try to get. You know, it just expands the communication with the community. And,
Absolutely.
you know, allows for more interaction. So that's great. And whatever you get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if it's bad, that's what we want.
Yeah.
You get to, so we can address it.
Can't get better if you don't know.
Yeah.
So that's my theory. So, yeah, I'll
When
send
I
an
get
email.
questions, I just, say, go to the website. So I'm hoping your websites are, you know. I think with the, you know, that thing being on the website and stuff, you know, I just hope that's good information, because I can't keep track of the changes. It's changing and changing again, and go to the website.
Hey, what was the outcome out of that then, Ashley? I had a friend with the same report, missed recycling pickup or two. What are we doing with them?
Well, I don't really have any outcome for that one. Mine was tagged at my house, and I'm trying to figure out where the payments and everything were, but. I just had other complaints in the community that people were calling me, so I just wanted to email Chris and address them
Yeah.
that way and see, just so I have a better understanding, and I can respond better to people, because I don't know the logistics. I know it of my business, but this one's a tad bit different. I got an idea, but I don't know the exact logistics, so.
Great. Oh, that's great.
To send them my way
Okay.
too, or like ask them to call the office.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Sellers. Yeah, because you could just be like, well, that's like, you know, I don't know the board is kind of like a higher level overview. I can't speak to your individual trash account.
Yeah, it wasn't trash. Anyway,
Okay.
that was something else.
Anything else, Ashley?
No.
Any questions? Diane, what do you got?
Well, I just wanted to update, about when my post goes up in December of this year, I'm not gonna reapply, so you're being proactive, and I really appreciate that. We were given until, I think, September to see if we could find a replacement, a Castle Valley representative replacement. I worked very, very hard, talked to a live body, July the 4th, had our pancake breakfast, and she was gonna, her intent, I talked to her 2 weeks later, her intent was to apply. So as we got closer to this meeting, I wanted to be able to say yay or nay that we have somebody in Castle. She's not, she hasn't responded, so we would probably not expect her to apply. So I want you to know, and I talked to Jocelyn with the city, with town, with Castle Valley, and I told her, I said, you know, we did our best. Jocelyn sent something out to the entire people that are, you know, on that web email list for the town, and everybody thanked me for my service, but no hands went up.
And then I think she asked if she could extend it outside of the town of Castle Valley to like include Castleton. And I was like, sure, like we would take anyone over there.
Yeah, you know, it's too small of a base of people. And, you know, that's why I think, you know, we've been filling positions with very qualified people, in my opinion. I'm glad, because I can leave knowing that there's quite a few people here that, you know, I appreciate you guys. I just really do. I just think it's a wonderful thing that it's not, it's a lot of work and time. And I just think that that's commendable to you guys. So have at it. It's all yours.
Thanks, Diane. Yeah, thanks for trying. Thanks for putting the effort into it. Okay, Mike, what do you got?
love the article in the paper. I enjoyed reading it. Enjoyed talking about the district. I think there's a lot of excitement in the community about the composting. A lot of turnout. But good job, everybody. Awesome work.
Hey Jay, got anything for us?
Well, I would just say thanks for calling me out, Chris, about canceling my recycling service. I'd let everyone know I'm not finished recycling. I'm just gonna make the trip across town to take it myself. So,
Yeah, oh, that's good. I wanted just to address that. Yeah, I didn't mean to call you out, actually.
yeah, I'm purely joking.
And I do not have anything, but Jessica, I do want to ask you what's your best guess on a time, and I won't hold you through this obviously, but what's your best guess on a timeline for the composting?
Oh, in what?
For
regard?
when we could actually be.
Operational, operational?
Yeah,
Well, we have to wait for the concrete cure. We've got a month lead time on the composter. Then we need to generate, actually, give me 2 seconds.
okay, awesome,
I actually have a timeline.
right on.
Wow.
And I don't have anything to report.
So your concrete should be cured by the time your composter gets here.
Yeah, that was
That was the goal anyway.
that's the plan, so we have some place to set it.
The original one that we were talking about, you know,
The
size.
curb
Just know that we got wind of going the bigger one. I can't remember the
Speaking of
names.
concrete.
Yeah.
It was a 700, what was it?
My mind right now.
I bet. The others.
So. Just how they close the bike path.
Yes, take the other side. It's closed right now.
No, I know, but like, the bike path's gonna be open.
It's gonna be a minute.
So according to my timeline now, granted, this is still when we were gonna do the Green Mountains. It looks like from starting the composting to selling our first bagged product is roughly 9 months.
Okay. And that's the process.
It's a baby.
And what's your best guess on when we could actually be accepting material there to be putting into the compost? Is that a couple months?
Yeah. That one's a little bit difficult because are so out of our old, I mean, we're 8, 9 months behind already. And we need to figure out, I don't know. Say,
So I don't think it's gonna happen within a year.
That's what I was
Okay.
guessing.
yeah,
It just because, I mean, the other component of this is we have to be able to perfect our recipe.
Got
To
it,
be
yeah,
able to go, so we don't want to obviously start trying to get.
Yeah.
Food out, whether it's drop off or collections or anything until we can make a product that Utah State goes, oh yeah, that's what you guys gotta
Oh,
do.
wow.
but we will still in the interim be working with like the school district, whoever, or a couple of
Yeah.
restaurants, whoever else, just
Yeah.
to be generating that
Yeah,
product. To be
but
experimenting
that's
with.
the part I want to be really careful and
Yeah,
really,
got it,
you know, they're gonna be isolated and it's not gonna necessarily be advertised just
Oh, I see.
because. What'll happen is people are hear that they're, oh, you're taking food and.
And then, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
got
really wary of.
okay, I won't say.
But we want, like Jessica said, I mean, we want people to be like informed through the process, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be some incidences.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, I would be disappointed if. So,
Yeah.
it's just the way
And then-
we go.
all good learning experiences, right?
And so you'll maybe first start trying out your recipe with material like soon? Like how long after it gets you would you start like?
I mean, I'd like to get started as soon as we get the
Yeah, as soon as we
running,
get-
so we can perfect the formula.
Like even perhaps even before we get a screener and a bagger
Yeah,
or any.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, as soon as it gets here, we wanna turn it on and start throwing stuff in there and see what comes out to the back end of it.
Okay, cool.
So that, yeah, that part should be.
Yeah, that one,
Yeah.
that'll be moving pretty quickly.
We should have a
The year
more
would be like full
composting party.
production.
I
mode.
like that. Check
As in
this thing
putting
out, I'm
stuff
pretty
in there,
excited
blah,
about
blah,
it.
blah.
Yeah, that's why I've been I'm generated like a really aggressive education and outreach timeline, because I kind of had the idea that once we get the composter, right before we turn it on, we have like a little bit of like a grand unveiling to the community. So people can
Yeah,
see the unit
cool.
when it's
Yeah, yeah.
brand new and
Yeah.
shiny and not
Yeah,
Full of,
full
Yeah,
of
yeah,
food.
I think that's
So-
possible.
But that's whew,
Yep. Okay, sorry to put you on the spot.
I mean, I'm trying.
Yeah, I know you. It's awesome. So exciting. Okay, done with board reports. We're moving on to old business. Discussion action item approval for purchase of Posi Shell and applicator LSC Environmental.
So I can be as quick as you guys want me to be about this. We've gone over it multiple times. It's the alternative daily cover. The benefits is less hours on a piece of heavy equipment, airspace. Like, I mean, I think that we've been able to kind of sell the idea. But now we're getting down to numbers. And they range the applicator itself ranges anywhere from $40,000 to $108,000. With about $50,000 is a truckload of material. And just given shipping costs, we would probably want to get a truckload. So
What's your
talking,
expectation of how long a truckload would last? No idea. Yeah.
yeah, they said that it lasts, and really, as I'm saying this, is basically I was gonna put out the top end number, which is $150,000. I'm hoping to work that back. I'm hesitant on going, because my initial thought was to kind of go to the cheaper machine and try to figure out how it works. But this is kind of back to the D8 of Dozer up at Moab, is trying to get the right machine for the right job. And this isn't just for alternative daily cover. I'm going to be using it for seeding as part of trying to do the closed cells 1, 2, and 3 to reduce my financial assurance costs for close and post closure. Moab's going to close, so it'll provide seeding application use for the Moab landfill. And the other reason why I'm hesitant to get the lesser machine is I'm going to experiment with throwing the Portland cement into it and spraying on my slopes to prevent erosion drills, which is another regulatory requirement that we have. And there's been success with that. The problem is the lesser machines will not take that stuff.
The concrete.
Yeah, the concrete application. So I guess I can go in a deeper dive, but the other thing is in speaking with Lily, so there's about a 3-month lead time on this. They do have financing available, but I was hoping to take this out of cash flow over the next 3 months. So, kind of wait and assess where we're at as far as cash flow, but I kind of wanted to get the board's approval so that when we're ready, I can just make the move. The other component of this is if I can get it and also start training. So once I can figure out the financial assurance, we're going to be moving down into a brand new cell. I want to have the procedures and the systems in place so that when we move down there, I'm going to really tighten up the working phase. Right now, we're finishing a few areas, so it's hard to, especially with the new people we have working here, to get systems in place. So if I can get it a little bit sooner, then we can practice with it. That way, once I get it down there, everything can kind of be, theoretically be dialed in. And then it's just, so I guess the ask would be for the highest amount possible, which is $150,000. The other thing of that is San Juan County uses this too. So given the timing, we might be able to split a truckload where I don't necessarily need to get a full shipment, and maybe we can split it there. Those are just timing issues. So, I mean, I hate to kind of put this onto that. I would just like the freedom to be able to kind of handle that without kind of trying to come back with the finer details. I don't know how the board feels about that. I mean, that's up to you, but that was kind of my intent, was just to throw that out there, seek approval for the 150, and then kind of update as things go from there.
And it's actually that we'd be splitting with San Juan's materials, not the actual.
Yes, sorry, yes,
Just wanted to clarify.
because the truckload comes in and then we can split the shipping costs. They come here, drop off
Right.
half, and then take the rest half
Yeah.
down.
What questions do we have, for Chris? What other questions?
So if we approve this money, you're gonna get it ordered and then start our clock for this 3 months. And how much longer do you guys have out there before you need to move into your next cell? What do you think?
Really no
3
question,
months or
actually.
less or?
I know, I think there's ways, that I could probably pull off, 6 months, maybe even another season. I mean, we've been doing, I mean, like I had showed before, I mean, we took a slope that was supposed to be finished where we were out of room. And then we just steepened it up, so I was able to get all that airspace back. I mean, I can do things like that to kind of prolong this. The opening of the cell, we're ready. It's been excavated, it's got the design, construction design on everything, got the engineer stamp on it. I'm just hesitant right now to submit it to the state. Because along with that is gonna come up my new financial assurance, guarantees, and I want to have an answer before I do that. So I would like to have it open beginning of season next year.
Just in time for us, okay. I'd like the time.
Yeah, that would be in a perfect.
I'd
world.
like to suggest going 10% higher because I'm shocking a couple of random things and prices are still going up. I don't know about this unit, but prices are still raising, so I'd like to suggest we approve 165.
Okay.
But
That's fine, and yeah, we're
my
still,
discussion.
yeah,
And according to Nick's report, it sounds like we still have about 500 in capital budget for the rest of the year, if I understood it correctly, so I feel comfortable when we have any major catastrophes between now and then, which.
do you wanna make a motion?
Yeah. I'll make a motion to. Help me some. Allocate. I'd like to make a motion to allocate 165,000 in the purchase of a quasi shield and applicator LSC environmental unit. That includes a unit and material.
Seems good to me, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yes, okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, LJ. Any questions before we vote? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thank you, and I'll kind of keep the board appraised of, please, we're going to do that, just gives me the freedom to kind of pull this off, so thank you.
Moving on to new business. Mike Dunaway, new board member, oath of office. And your acceptance speech? Which you want to do first?
Blood and your first born child.
No, I didn't know. It's just to print it out.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I can run over if you want to print it out over there real quick.
I unplugged it because we're not using that.
No, but in another office. Should we circle back? I could run over and get it too, because you're
Do you want
doing capital.
Should we move on? Come back to this?
Sorry.
All right.
I mean, technically, I still have your old one.
And I think we've already been down that.
Yeah, let's make
Okay.
sure we get a clean one.
So while we wait for that. Let's move on to G, discussion item, capital infrastructure purchases for remaining 2024 versus amended budget.
Yeah, I mean, and this could be really quick. I mean, I've kind of been in contact with Nick throughout this year, like I said, and with Lily over our cash flows. And honestly, just kind of listening to Nick, I think that maybe I might kind of put this off a little bit till the next board meeting. That way, it'll give us a little bit more time to come up with some solid things. I mean, I have a list of things that we need. And I've been a little bit gun shy just because of our, financial past in trying to get them. But things have come up, like I had mentioned earlier, like we got the 2 transfer trailers. I actually asked about a tractor. The reason I didn't even consider a tractor is, once again, I'm kind of really conscious about spending money and there's other needs, but I mean, that just gives us more freedom. I mean, if we can not sit there and try to swap trailers, but I mean, there's $100,000. I'm asking $100,000, $150,000, $165,000 for this applicator, $1 million for a compactor. I mean, I can go down with Scales. I mean, Scales is number 2 on my list. They have an additional rear load truck. Where the timeline for that doesn't scare me as much, because even if I ordered it right now, they could actually push the delivery date to the first of 2026. So, but I think what I'll do on this one, just to kind of give, so my reason of putting it in here is I didn't want to come to the board like every meeting and ask for like, ooh, I want this new toy and I want this new toy. I kind of wanted to give you guys an insight into, you know, what we're purchasing, so you know that there's conscious thought going behind it, and it's not just reactionary purchases. Was kind of the intent, but I think we can maybe make this a little bit more organized. And I know I've been busy, and I had meant to get with Nick a little bit more on this. So I think just as going into budget season, we can kind of get this dialed in. So if it's okay, I think we'll just kind of, I mean, that was just kind of it. It was just to discuss some of the items we need to purchase, and, you know, kind of just make the board aware that, you know, I'm not just coming here asking for new shiny toys. There's a need, there's a thought process, and we can give you guys a little bit more, you know, a heads up of our needs, then, you know, it loses that appearance a little bit, right?
Appreciate that. Okay, any questions on that? If not, we'll move on to H, the Southeastern Utah Health Department seat on the board.
So I've actually been working quite a bit with the Southeast Health Department, and over the last, I've been working with Ryan for years now, but recently with Jonathan and stuff. And it was just, and especially kind of with this Danish flat waste systems, we started having a discussion about that, and I think it might give the board an insight to that component, because there's a lot of overlap between the health department and what they do and what the solid waste does. There's lots of kind of joint ventures. We're always calling each other on what to do with what. The one thing that I wanted to make clear is I know the board has an odd number, and I think that's important. So I as an initial thing was more like an advisory, non-voting seat, but just to get them more involved in the conversations that are going on here, especially as we're looking into expanding the transfer station, expanding the waste streams that we're accepting, and as we venture into some of these public-private partnerships that I've been working on. So I don't know if you have any questions. This was just kind of an introductory discussion to get the board's kind of feeling on making such a move or anything. So
It makes really good sense to me. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say, my first initial thought when I even saw it on the agenda is that, you know, we're always having a hard time filling the Castle Valley seat. And it would make sense to me to change our bylaws to make it from the health department. And because we have 3 other seats that are, you know, not necessarily designated as city or what have you. And that could be filled by a Castle Valley person in the future if they were interested. But it's always been difficult to find somebody from Castle Valley.
yeah.
So to me, that would be a really good transition. We can still keep the same number of board members.
Yeah, and I mean, I was thinking that possibility, but I had already spoke to, I'm not sure who I spoke to in Castle Valley. Who we were emailing back and forth.
Justin.
Yeah,
Also on the administrator.
yeah, and then we did commit to them that we would give them till September, so I didn't want to like prior to commit, but yeah, that was kind of like, if there is a seat, then, you know, I think it's filled, and I think for me personally, I think it would be a great partnership. And given that it's an organization, that they can just kind of fill it, and then we're not going to be trying to go after somebody kind of like the city and the county where those positions are just filled by whatever the
They're
representative.
appointed.
Yeah, they're appointed.
Do they understand the responsibilities?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But I think we have to change our bylaws.
Two of them
We
are
probably need to
San
do that
Juan
anyway.
County residents. Anyway, I mean, I reached out to the county attorney to see if that would be an issue because every board application for a Grand County Special Service District, you have to be a citizen of Grand. He didn't think that that would be an issue. I mean, this was last year trying to fill, I don't know which vacancy. I spoke with Marie Brophy, but she declined saying I didn't have the time for the commitment.
So what was it with the San Juan? It was okay that the San Juan person might fill the,
Mr. Stock said he didn't think it would be an issue.
okay. But I guess the wording maybe needs to change.
To service area is what we were gonna say, or representative from the service area, which includes that northern part of San Juan County.
Where it's an organization, I think this is.
It's gonna be an issue for me.
Because they do, this is the one of the areas of jurisdiction.
But I still think it would have to be noted in the. bylaws.
Oh, well, and it would have to be, I would assume that just the same way any other board member would still have to go in front of the
Yes.
county commission and, yeah, that whole process, but I think we're just kind of how we expanded from 7 to 9. I guess we did run that in front of the county too, but I don't, yeah. It's
5 to
again, this-
7.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we're not
Yeah.
Supreme Court yet.
So you had this discussion with Orion?
Yes, both Orion
Oh, okay.
and Jonathan, and both of them thought it would be a great idea.
Wow,
That's really
I
good.
think
Great.
it's great.
Do we feel we need them on the board? I mean, I love the advisory non-voting seat. I mean, they've got a lot of knowledge. Do we feel they need to be on the board?
Also, like, would it get into a conflict of interest because they could be a regulatory body for it?
Yeah, and that's been brought up, that there would have to be some cautions because it's, and probably more so on their end and actually on our end where they couldn't have the appearance of being influenced through what they do. So, and
Well, and that in some ways, that's the same for the city and county. Yep.
yes, and these are all great questions. I mean, this isn't something that once again, this was just kind of an initial discussion. I personally think it's a good idea. There's obviously some not regulatory, but some procedural items that would have to be addressed. Obviously, we need to get the county in here, so I mean, this probably continue with Mary and, you know, perhaps even expand in the discussion with the county administrators and, you know, before we.
Until December,
Oh, yeah.
you got time.
And if it is not, I mean, we can go out, we don't have to hold up trying to fill this seat if this discussion goes on too. That would be my intent. And that was kind of like the first step might be as an advisory type thing, just to fill it out, just see how it works. And then work through all the other procedural type stuff first, and then maybe even get somebody else in to fill in. Maybe it's the next vacancy if that's the direction that both bodies wanted to take.
Well, and we certainly should, I would think, extend an invite to upcoming board meetings to just be here like anybody can.
Yeah, and they actually were willing to come down with them, and I just thought it might be a little bit more appropriate, just so the board can have a free discussion without, you know, kind of in first before, so, yeah.
I think
And you're right, they could come down anytime, I mean, we would more involved too.
it seems like too, if the time restrictions were an issue, it seems like the kind of thing where with the agenda, you could map out meetings where it'd be important to have the health department there or not, like a lot of the stuff I talked about is don't necessarily require their input.
Yeah, and that's about the point too, we don't necessarily want to waste their time.
Yeah.
And I know that they're on, the health department is on other various boards, so they have a seat.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, then we will go back to Mike's oath of office.
Okay, so I say this out loud?
Yeah.
I, Michael Dunaway, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Find your beds.
Okay. Is that it? What we have to do for Mike?
Make sure to verify dates.
Congratulations, Mike.
20th? Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, moving on to future considerations. We're wrapping it up. The September ACB meeting scheduled for Wednesday, September 17th, 2025, 4:30 PM. Are there any considerations? Nope. Okay. And I don't believe we have a closed session. So if that's the case, I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, AJ.
Thank you.